Okay.
Hello, welcome to Cass County today. Well, it's the 1st of February, and you know what comes in February? Valentine's Day. So today we've got lots of interesting information about how Valentine's Day began and interesting customs and things like that. So let's just get right to it. Here's a little bit of history and some things that you may or may not have known about Valentine's Day. There are varying opinions as to the origin of Valentine's Day. Some experts state that it originated from Saint Valentine, a Roman who was martyred for refusing to give up Christianity. He died on February the 14th, 269 A.D., the same day that had been devoted to love lotteries everywhere. Legend also says that Saint Valentine left a farewell note for the jailer's daughter who had become his friend and signed it "From your Valentine." Other aspects of the story say that Saint Valentine served as a priest at the temple during the reign of Claudius the emperor. Claudius then had a Valentine jailed for defying him. Had Valentine jailed for defying him. And in 486 AD, the Pope set aside February the 14th to honor Saint Valentine. Over the times, February the 14th has become the date for exchanging love messages. It's also a day of celebration, and it's the patron saint of lovers. Isn't that interesting that Saint Valentine became a patron saint? The date is marked by sending poems and simple gifts, such as flowers, to loved ones and to secret loves. By far, Valentine's Day flowers are the most popular gift today. In the United States, Miss Esther Hallen is given credit for sending the first Valentine cards. Commercial Valentines were introduced in the 1800s, and now the date is very commercialized. The town of Loveland, Colorado, does a large post office business around February the 14th. The spirit of good continues as Valentines are sent out with sentimental verses, and children even exchange Valentine's Day cards at school. Here's a little bit of more history about it. It started in the time of the Roman Empire. In ancient Rome, February 14th was a holiday to honor Juno. Juno was the queen of the Roman gods and goddesses. The Romans also knew her as the goddess of women and marriage. The following day, February the 15th, began the feast of Lupercalia. The lives of young boys and girls were strictly separate. However, one of the customs of the young people was name drawing. On the eve of the festival of Lupercalia, the names of Roman girls were written on slips of paper and placed into jars. Each young man would draw a girl's name from the jar and would then be partners for the duration of the festival with the girl whom he chose. Sometimes the pairing of the children lasted an entire year, and often they would fall in love and would later marry. Under the rule of Emperor Claudius II, Rome was involved in many bloody and unpopular campaigns. He was called Claudius the Cruel, and he was having a difficult time getting soldiers to join his military leagues. I can see why. He believed that the reason that Roman men did not want to leave their loved ones or families was because of love, and as a result, Claudius canceled all marriages and engagements in Rome. The good Saint Valentine was a priest in Rome in the days of Claudius II. He and Saint Marius added the Christian martyrs and secretly married couples. And for this kind of deed, Saint Valentine was apprehended and dragged before the prefect of Rome. They condemned him to death and beat him to death with clubs, and they had his head cut off. He suffered martyrdom on the 14th day of February, about the year 270. At that time, it was the custom in Rome, a very ancient custom indeed, to celebrate in the month of February the Lupercalia feast in honor of a heathen god. On these occasions, amidst a variety of pagan ceremonies, the names of young women were placed in a box from which they were drawn by men as chance directed. The pastors of the early Christian church in Rome endeavored to do away with these pagan elements, though, and the feasts surrounding them, and they substituted names of saints for the names of the maidens. And as the Lupercalia began about the middle of February, the pastors appear to have chosen St. Valentine's Day for the celebration of this new feast. So it seems that the custom of young men choosing maidens for valentines or saints as patrons for the coming year arose in this way. Here is an interesting St. Valentine's Day story. Let me introduce myself. My name is Valentine. I lived in Rome during the 3rd century. That was long, long ago. At that time, Rome was ruled by an emperor named Claudius. I didn't like Emperor Claudius, and I wasn't the only one. A lot of people shared my feelings. Claudius wanted to have a big army. He expected men to volunteer to join. Many men did not want to fight in the wars. They did not want to leave their wives and families. And as you might have guessed, not many men signed up. This made Claudius furious. So what happened? He had a crazy idea. He thought that if men were not married, they would not mind joining the army. So Claudius decided not to allow any more marriages. Young people thought that his new law was cruel. I thought it was preposterous. I certainly wasn't going to support that law. Did I mention I was a priest? One of my favorite activities was to marry couples. Even after Emperor Claudius passed his law, I kept on performing marriage ceremonies, secretly of course. It was really quite exciting. Imagine a small candlelit room with only the bride and groom and myself. We would whisper the words of the ceremony, listening all the while for the steps of the soldiers. One night we did hear footsteps, and it was scary. Thank goodness the couple I was marrying escaped in time. Not quite as light on my feet as I used to be, I guess. I was thrown into jail and told that my punishment was death. I tried to stay cheerful, and you know what? Wonderful things happened. Many young people came to the jail to visit me. They threw flowers and notes up to my window. They wanted me to know that they too believed in love. One of these young people was the daughter of the prison guard. Her father allowed her to visit me in my cell. Sometimes we would sit and talk for hours. She helped me to keep my spirits up and agreed that I did the right thing by ignoring the emperor and going ahead with the secret marriages. On the day I was to die, I left my friend a little note thanking her for her friendship and loyalty, and I signed it, "Love from your Valentine." I believe that the note started the custom of exchanging love messages on Valentine's Day. It was written on the day I died, February the 14th, 269 AD. Now, every year on this day, people remember. But most importantly, they think about love and friendship. And when they think of Emperor Claudius, they remember how he tried to stand in the way of love, and they laugh because they know that love can't be beaten. That's just a little note from St. Valentine. Hundreds of years ago in England, many children dressed up as adults on Valentine's Day, and they went singing from house to house. And one verse that they sang said, "Good morning to you, Valentine. Curl your locks as I do mine. 2 before and 3 behind. Good morning to you, Valentine." It's interesting that in Wales, wooden love spoons were carved and given as gifts on February the 14th. Hearts, keys, and keyholes were favorite decorations on the spoons, and the decoration meant, "You unlock my heart." Isn't that sweet? In the Middle Ages, young men and women drew names from a bowl to see who their Valentines would be, and they would wear the names on their sleeves for 1 week. To wear your heart on your sleeve now means that it's easy for other people to know how you are feeling. In some countries, a young woman may receive a gift of clothing from a young man, and if she keeps the gift, it means she's going to marry him. Some people used to believe that if a woman saw a robin flying overhead on St. Valentine's Day, it meant she would marry a sailor. If she saw a sparrow, she would marry a poor man and be very happy. If she saw a goldfinch, she would marry a millionaire. Did you know that a love seat is a wide chair, and it was first made to seat one woman in her white dress? But later the love seat or courting seat had 2 sections, often in an S shape. This way the couples could sit together but not sit too closely. Okay, think of 5 or 6 names of boys or girls you might marry, and as you twist the stem of an apple, recite the name until the stem comes off. You'll marry the person whose name you were saying when the stem fell off. I wonder if that's true. Pick a dandelion that's gone to seed. Take a deep breath and blow the seeds into the wind. Count the seeds that remain on the stem, and that's the number of children you will have. Also, if you cut an apple in half and count how many seeds are inside, that's another way to find out how many children you're going to have. Well, y'all try that and let me know if that works. Oh, and I want to be sure and tell you, if you've got any stories that you'd like for us to talk about, or pictures you want us to put on the air, or on Facebook, or on the web on our page, just send them here. Send them to news@casscountytoday.com. We'd be glad to do that for you. It's very interesting. And you'll remember last week, we started a new section about what's going on in Texas history. Today in Texas history. Well, this week in Texas history, it was February 1897, and movies came to Texas. This Week in Texas is brought to you by this station and the Save Texas History Program of the General Land Office. So, February the 1st, 1897, in Dallas. Less than a year after it premieres in New York City, Thomas Edison's Vitascope is sweeping the country. The machine uses projected light to show moving pictures to large audiences. Today, on a promotional tour at the south of Today, on a promotional tour of the South, the Vitascope makes its first Texas stop at the Dallas Opera House. Amazed crowds watch simple films showing waves on the beach, a boxing match, a kiss, and even a lynching. Oh, there you go. From kiss to lynching all in one film. But the crowds love it. The first film of Texas would come 3 years later when a cameraman shot the aftermath of the Galveston storm. Dallas itself did not make it into film until 1911. Movies came to Texas 114 years ago. This Week in Texas History. Isn't that interesting? We should all celebrate by going to the theater and seeing a good movie. Well, again, if you've got anything you want us to talk about, or you've got a love story you want us to post, or any of your photos, you can drop us a line at news@casscountytoday.com or put it on our Facebook page. Till next week, have a great week, be safe, and be blessed. Thanks for joining us.